So what is a peak state and what is not? In this video today, I'm going to talk to you about what are really peak states of consciousness and what they're not, because I see a lot of confusion on the internet and the people I talk to, and most people have this misconception that a peak state is only one thing. And in their view, a peak state is a state of high energy where you are pumped up and you are confident. And maybe you've been to one of these coaching seminars or these self-development conferences where people have you clap your hands and cheer up and sometimes jump up and down and try to occupy the space and be larger than life, be a charismatic person and say, I'm great, I'm going to make it happen, I'm successful. And I've been to those places where sometimes they made me, rub the back of somebody I didn't know, a stranger, and we had to high-five each other and to congratulate each other. And sometimes you go to the seminars where they put very loud music and they make you jump up and down saying, yeah, we're so smart, we're so great, and we are successful, and so on and so on. And what they're trying to do is to create a high, and they label it as a peak state. So, well, there's a place for this, but let me give you a different point of view on this. Thing is, when you increase your energy and your confidence and you're trying to create this high state, there's a place for that, and it can be useful in some situations, but that's not really what I would label as a peak state. So what are peak states from my point of view? Well, I'm studying peak states from the point of view of what started the field, and the field started with Abraham Maslow's descriptions of peak experiences. And Abraham Maslow was a psychologist in the 50s and 60s who studied exceptional states of happiness and well-being in humans. And he found that many people have experienced something very different in their life, very positive, like utter joy, complete happiness, very deep peace, or the feeling of not being an ego, not being an I, but being more than oneself, being merged with the environment and being one with everything, or mystical states or transcendental states, or very different experiences. A feeling of flow, like there is life flowing through me and I'm not doing anything but things just happen, or all these kinds of positive states. And he labeled them peak experiences. So a peak experience is something like that happens temporarily. You get to the peak and then you go out of it. What we call peak states at the Institute for the Study of Peak States, we realize that those experiences can be had permanently. So it's possible to have a continuous state of happiness and to be happy all the time, no matter what happens in our life. It's possible to have this utter joy feeling that is always there, or to feel more alive or more creative or more peaceful. So for example, if you imagine the state of complete equanimity and serenity that a Tibetan monk could attain with 40 years of meditation, we would call that a peak state. Okay, so peak states are permanent states, and there's a lot of them. We identify so far at least 60 different categories, and they are very different from having high energy. Now, we also notice that we can have multiple peak states at the same time. We can combine them. So you can combine a state of high energy with a state of being calm. And that's actually very functional and normal. And that's a big difference with the peak states that people are trying to induce in those coaching seminars, because what they're really trying to get is to get you high, to get you feel good, to get out of your comfort zone or your doubts and fears so that you can perform better. And again, nothing wrong with that. There's a time and place for it. But the problem with that is it doesn't create a fully functional state. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, these states are generally not calm. They're not peaceful. They are a state of being high and being energized. And very often when I talk to people who experience that, they tell me that they get a high and then it allows them to overperform for a few days or a few weeks. But after that, they experience a decrease and then a crash. Because once things starts to not work the way you intended them to, then you experience the opposite of the high. You have a decrease, you have a slowdown, and you can even crash and have a low self-esteem and thinking why is it not working? What is wrong with me? I'm too bad, I'm a piece of shit, I'm worthless, and you experience this ego deflation that feels really bad. And you have all these doubts and fears and self-sabotage and all these negative moods that comes up. And that's kind of the result of getting to the high in the first place. You experience, a payback at the end. And people who experience this very often try to recreate the high. So they recreate these habits of jumping up and down and cheering up and say, yeah, I'm great, I'm going to make it. And they have these rituals of looking at the mirror and say, you are great, you're going to make it, you're the best, and so on. The problem with that is, again, they're trying to cover up something that doesn't work inside of themselves by this high feeling. And therefore, they're creating conflict. They're creating a discongruency between what they actually feel and believe deep up inside and how they show up. And therefore, where they experience a crash, it can be painful. Now, how to recognize what is a real peak state in my definition and what are just the high states? Well, high states generally don't feel calm. You don't feel calm and peaceful in those states. You feel high, you feel energized. Some people say, I'm buzzing, I'm full of energy. And the problem is the body cannot sustain that, high level of tension and energy for a long period of time. It has to go down and to relax at some point. Whereas in peak states, there is always an underlying feeling of calm in the peak state. So you can have a state of high energy. For example, I know some people who only sleep 4 hours a night because they don't need more, because they have a lot of energy and they can do a lot of things in the day. They achieve much more than average people, but they don't feel tensed up. They don't feel hyped up or energized or buzzing. They feel pretty calm. They're just calm and they have a lot of energy. And that for me is a sign of a functional peak state, because you can sustain it for the long term. You can have it permanently. While temporary highs feel good, but they have a counterpart. So I hope that makes sense. So in other videos, I talk more about what are those different peak experiences and peak states, what are the different categories and how to work on them. And that's a topic for another discussion. So you can follow me on my YouTube channel if you want to know more about that. In the meantime, if you are looking for high, this is not what you're going to get on my channel, because what I'm looking for is permanent improvement in the quality of life. So stay tuned for the next video. I'll talk to you soon and have a great day. Thank you.